Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Happy Friday. And in today's video, we have a few things to go over. Now, I have mentioned a lot of things already this week when it comes to data mines, so we're going to recap a little bit about this. Obviously, this is like the pre-blog video where we're going to tell you everything that you need to know for next week, because the data mines pretty much has it all, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a whole lot different that's going to be on the blog later on today. There's also a free promo code. We're going to cover this as well, and my disappointment about a few things, and also about Overpower. I want to have another discussion about PvE Overpower and why I think it might rear its ugly head again pretty soon. All that and more in today's video. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Okay, let's go into MarvelStrikeForce.com online. And there's this new promo code called Summer Gains. Now, I want to call it Summer Losses because really I heard this was pretty garbage. So Summer Gains, all in capital letters. Zoom in a little bit more, you can see this. We're going to click the redeem button, and it's 1,000 antimatter. Now, the last promo code was 10,000, and now it's 1,000. A factor of 10 reduction. This is insane. And also that Pathfinder made a statement saying that we're going to get the exact same currency this month as we did last month. But I'm just going to say that this does not bode well. It looks grim. There's 150 power cores, though. And if you want to use it towards the current event, then you can do that. So now, right? So you can go into the game. We can claim our stuff. And if you want to use it, what I meant is the milestone, right? So the Quantum Surge milestone is entering later on today, or by the time you're watching this, it's probably like 6 hours or so left. Oh my God, I'm on a knife's edge when it comes to this. So as much as I don't want to, I kind of want to just keep in that top 2K. I don't know if I'm going to, but I guess I'm gonna wait. Oh, you know what? You know what? Not the fact that it was an 8. But I'm like, no, get that out of my face. I'm like, what is this? 14? No, actually, it's a little bit more. 2,400 points away from this milestone. That's a kicker, because I'm like literally out of power cores, I think. So that's gonna be a disappointment. Anyways, I didn't get that milestone. So let's go back and talk about a few other things. Now, before we get to the data mines, I do want to talk about this chart. What is this? This is not mine. This is Bo's Gorilla, who you may know from, he helps me a little bit. We chat. He helps me a little bit with the data mines, that kind of stuff as well. Sometimes he gets to it before I do when I wake up in the morning. And the purpose of this is talking about Blastar, when people should be getting Blastar unlocked. Now, for most players, it's going to be around day 14. If you do the premium milestones, and assuming that Rachel is coming out next week, which I think she probably is, then you should be able to get the additional points in the command center that's related to those characters in month 1, and also assuming that we get the 300,000 antimatter. I guess there's probably going to be a flash event that pops up later on today at reset, right? That's what I'm assuming. Even after doing the battle world stuff, I'm still a bit short, right? And there's only 3 days left. So I would assume, and I think that Pathfinder may have said that a flash event is going to show up later on, which is basically them admitting that they don't know how to do math, because they make this goal, or they intended it to be a flash event later on, right? You know, that kind of thing, to make up for it, but otherwise they don't know how to do math. And so you might be able to gather this cores, but I think this is going to be when the milestone, the quantum milestone, the leaderboard is over, right? But there is some monthly premium stuff here. If you unlock Azazel, if you unlock Rachel Summers, so those are 40 extra points, right? And when you get towards the end with the unlock here, especially around these and the extra 50 shards down here, like you may get them unlocked a little bit early, since the daily gives you only 5 points, right? So you could get this earlier on than day 14, but definitely everybody should have this between day 14 and day 21, absolutely, for sure. But most free-to-play players should have them by day 14 as well. So do keep that in mind there. Just wanted to kind of share that. Things seem a bit dry right now. We're going into week 2 of the new chapter of the Broken King, and it seems like we have a whole lot of nothing to do. Maybe that's just me. So this is what we did have with Quasar at the start of the Harbinger month 1. Week 1 we had Psychic Cataclysm. Now I know that wasn't something a lot of people liked, right? This was G20 entrance. This was mostly for Xavier people. This was very early on as well too. That was the start of week 1. And then it was week 2 here when they brought in the negative zone, right? Which allowed you to use your vigilantes. And I don't think Thunderbolts were really out fully at this point in time. So most people were using vigilantes. And there was Battle World, but that's nothing new really. Now, what's interesting to compare this to what's going to be next week, and maybe this is similar, but we do have a pocket. I'm almost certain it's going to pop up in the blog post. We've been talking about this on my videos this week. That there's going to be I think it's called the Righteous Dimension with Liberty. Now, what's weird though is that it's not a negative zone, but it's also not with the new or the Fantastic Four MCU, right? So the Fantastic Four should be under the new tag, the Conquerors tag, but they're also not. Wherever my Fantastic, just grab Human Torch, right? So they have the Chapter 1 Harbinger tag, but they don't have the new Conquerors tag. So when are they going to add that? The Chapter 2 Conqueror tag, which should be on all of the Fantastic Four MCU as well as Hellfire Club, and that's not a thing either. So I don't know what's going on. It feels like they're asleep at the wheel right now when it comes to events and things going on with Chapter 2. Are they on extended summer holidays? It almost appears that way because it just doesn't seem like the Chapter 2... It's not like anything's been really going on Chapter 2 related with the characters or the teams related to this, you know? And so that's a little bit of a concern that I have. But, you know, that's also just a quick PSA reminder because I really do think it's going to pop up for next week because I'm going to do a recap of this. But Chapter 2 does mention commendations or something like this from the dimensions, right? So this is, we talked about Liberty. I mean, honestly, if you've gone through the Xavier saga, you're probably good to go anyways. It's probably not going to be that difficult. It's probably going to be autoable content because it's not the negative zone, you know, but maybe it's something that we are going to be running every single day for node rewards. So that's something to watch out for as well, because every single dimensions that we've had since Chapter 1 has basically been something that you can run every single day. Maybe not the first time and second time clear rewards, but node rewards may be a thing. So do keep that in mind. And I kind of want to just pivot very quickly before we jump to the data mines about this blog from April 21st, the next step, for Overpower PvE. Now, this was a while ago, like over 3 months ago, right? And they talked about the rollout of Overpower PvE, how we would start to see it in different places. And they mentioned how it was going to come out into the showcase for Thunderbolts and Blitz. Is it even in Blitz? Like, I feel like they've either backpedaled or they're just not ready to do. Like, maybe it's in there. I think it is in there, but is it actually? I mean, not that it matters. Like, it really doesn't matter in Blitz, right? But they kind of failed to implement this in the majority. And I'm not necessarily complaining, but it just makes me wonder whether or not that this is still something that's going to be going ahead, right? And then we're moving to the point, especially with Purple 4, potentially it is around the corner, probably for this fall. I would say September, October. It might even be linked to Battle World 2, right? They might do some there, like where you're going to get the rewards, or absolutely, or maybe even the new raids, or both Battle World and new raids. Who knows? And I just kind of want so in the future, more PvE content will include Overpower game modes and events that is not going to be Chaotic Storm raids is not going to be. So that's important, right? Because we are moving into the new Annihilation raids, and I think that is coming soon, like this month sometime, I would imagine. Sebastian Shaw will be unlocked by August 25th at the end of the month, which is the last character. So I would assume that the raid is by then, right, to convince people to buy this team. And details of that should either pop up in the data mine soon, or there should be a blog post by the envoys or something like this talking about that raid. Our team will continue to monitor the community's feedback. Now, the community's feedback on Overpower was pretty harsh, right, about this, just in general, PvE and PvP. We haven't really talked about it a whole lot lately, but I do think that they might do this for the new Annihilation raids. Why? Because they want to convince us to, and this is my Uncanny Avengers, which I think I'm going to have to use for this Annihilation raids. Mine are sitting at 100 still. I think this is going to have to force and convince people to G20 their characters if they want to continue to sim. Because hypothetically, the enemies are gear tier 20, and they will overpower your raid teams for anyone who is not 105 gear 20. And this pushes potentially people to spend or whatnot on their raid teams to get them up to gear tier 20 so that you can sim properly, right? Or there's a higher chance that the sim fucks up because your characters are being overpowered. That's the vision that I see for them, unless they've completely abandoned it, right? It's a new raid that they can implement this with, and we're going to see more gear tier 20 gear on that raid, and I think that's something very likely that we're going to get. Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'm completely wrong. You know, like, I hope I'm kind of wrong, but I do think that Overpower is going to be coming back soon, especially in PvE, and I think we might start to see it again. Now, let's talk about data mines. Now, I just want to do a really, really quick, like, backpedal a little bit about a recap, right? Fantastic. I don't know if it's going to show up in the blog today. Fantastic for Danger Room 2, Part 2, right? I mean, hopefully that one's better than the first one, but yeah, who knows? And the stuff about the Righteous Dimension, which I covered in yesterday's video, just a quick recap about that, using Liberty. These are some of the nodes here and some of the requirements. X-Men, non-legendary X-Men, Liberty, and some Absolute A-Force for some reason. And then I want to go back to the new stuff, which is going to be the new Franklin Richards event, Multiversal Powerhouse. Earn Franklin Richards shards and antimatter. Commander, get ready for the multiversal. So it's a global milestone, which means it's going to be very easy to do. Join forces with fellow commanders to help bring stability, blah, 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 blah. Earn Franklin Richards shards and antimatter, right? You know the drill. And then you do this just by playing raids. So again, super, super easy. We should be able to get our 100 shards of Franklin next week, and it should be, I'm assuming it's probably next week, right? That makes sense, because it's been a little bit since he's come out. So unless this is week 3, there is a possibility this is an early data mine, actually. So we'll find out on the blog, right? But I hope that it is next week, in fact. And then we have this new weird thing about the Hellfire Club. It's called the Hellfire Heatwave token. So each token unlocks a limited time Hellfire Heatwave offer, costing power cores to purchase 20 offers total. So I don't know where you get these exactly, but it's some weird thing that's going to allow you to spend more money. Sorry, not spend more money. Spend power cores, I guess, if you want to. But I am going into power core hoarding mode basically from now, after this event has finished, this current leaderboard. Now, I do want to do a bit of a recap on the Broken King week 2, so this is going to be for next week. Spend campaign energy, play Crucible with Immortal X-Men, and earn Broken King commendations from Fallen Dimension. Now, we know that this is no longer Fallen Dimension, that it's going to be Righteous Dimension, so that's likely going to be on the blog post today. Play Blitz with Rachel Summers, so I mean, that basically means that she is coming out next week, right? And what's important to note is that if you do have both Azazel and Rachel Summers, that you will unlock Blastar probably, I don't know when, but probably by the time that Rachel Summers comes out and you unlock her, so you can get those early points. So I think people who are big into Cosmic Crucible would actually want, you know, if you want to have a leg up, I suppose, you know, I haven't been really following the character, but you would have Blastar unlocked for next week's Cosmic Crucible on the Friday, right? If you do have Azazel and Rachel Summers unlocked. So that is something to keep in mind for those of you who are really pushing the boundaries of Cosmic Crucible and want to keep up there. You probably want to make sure that you have Blastar. So a bit of a light blog, or sorry, a bit of a light video, I guess. You know, I don't expect to be much different than what I've already talked about this week and today on the blog post. Like, this is basically covered everything else. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The game's in a bit of a dry spot right now. There's not much really going on, just a lot of the usual clicking. Battle World, I guess, is going into its null stage later on today, and we'll get some antimatter there and get the 7 yellow null, and then his event should be starting soon for the red stars, for the 7 red, but it's going to be like a longer thing, like a couple of weeks it's going to take to do. We'll talk about that more if it's necessary when it comes up. Otherwise, there's just not a whole lot going on right now. So unfortunately, I don't have anything new to report just now. But there probably is going to be new data mines. Usually by the with the Friday up the server updates and things like that on Friday. Usually there's more data mines as well. So there might be some stuff on the weekend to talk about. So keep an eye on the channel as usual, and have a great start of your weekend, everybody. And I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.